Hi everybody, DK here with Mr. V Amps, and we have a B&K DynaQuik Model 500 tube tester. I did some repairs to this. When it came in, it did not work correctly, and it actually blew smoke. But it's fixed now, and I know somebody out there is going, "Why didn't you go through the entire repair process with us?" Well, you know, sometimes it's a learning experience for me, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but we got it working good. Everything's cool. You know, new capacitor. The components that expire have been changed and or replaced. So I'm just going to demo how this thing works. It's a little more goof-proof than some other testers out there. I think of my lovely ICO 666, which you may or may not love those. I generally don't love mine, but I like that I can test a lot more tubes with it than I can with, for example, my orange tester, which I do like. Okay, so today, for a demonstration, we are going to check out a couple of 6V6s. I'm going to try to zoom in on the book and see if y'all can see this. 6V6 is my favorite tube to test in here because it's easy. Okay. So 6V6 is right there in the book. It goes in socket 8B, and you set the filament voltage to 6, and for both the true conductance and for the life, the setting is both 75. So this third number, you would set this, you know, to whether you're doing a life test or you're doing a mutual conductance test. And then in the true mutual conductance test, they have a number here that's 4100. So 4100 is the target number of a healthy tube. Okay, so let's back up a little bit here. Alright, so I have two 6V6s here. I have one, they're both well used, but this silver tone is rated at 8, which new tubes generally tend to be between 8 and 10. So it's still what I would consider to be quite strong, despite being quite old. Our second tube here is a Cunningham. I don't even know who makes that, but our orange says it's 7, so it's definitely the weaker tube. It is still in a usable state, but it's not quite as strong as we wish it were. Our filament voltage I have set at 6, which is this dial right here, and our sensitivity we're going to set to 75, which is right there. And then we simply plug in our tube and wait for it to warm up. While we're waiting for it to warm up, we have the tester here set to short, and we're just gonna sit and wait and see if that light really starts a glowing. As the tube warms up, it might, there's a little bit of leaky there, but not hardly anything. It glows really bright when you feed it a leaky tube. So I prefer the meter check for shorts that the ICO has. It's much more sensitive. Okay, so our tube is warmed up. We'll go up to life, and of course life says it is good. Not a surprise. And on true GM, go right here. The target for a good healthy 6V6 is 4100, and we're getting just a little bit more than that. Okay, cool. Now we'll give our, and I have tested more than just 6V6s on this for anybody who's asking. This is just a brief demo. There's our Cunningham tube, which is a little older, a little more worn, probably pulled out of some old radio. We actually have less component-to-component leakage with this one, just a smidge, but not enough to constitute a short. I really prefer a different system because this is like an overall conductance, like it's one light for everything. You're not checking from pin this to pin that and walking around the system. So not my style. I don't dig that. Okay, we're still at 75 because it's a 6v6. This tube should be reaching 4100 on the mutual conductance scale there, because we're on GM transconductance, and we're not quite there. Our old Silvertone made the 4100, which is considered standard. This one's just a little under that. We're at like 38, 39, and if we go to life, it's still just squeaking in the good range. So yeah, based on what my other testers say, I will consider this one good. This tester to be fixed. I have checked quite a few tubes that I knew that I had that were weak, and I took some other ones out. We tested them with the orange, or we tested them with the ICO, which again, I think both of those are reasonably accurate, and this one is agreeing with that. So there you go. So that's what a weak tube looks like. It should be putting out 4100, and it's putting out about 3800. On the chart here, you will also see, let me just reference something else here. Let's reference the 6L6, if I can zoom in on that. This is not a 6L6GC, by the way. This is just 6L6. Okay, let's just find a chart. I think there it is. It should be that one right there. Okay. So on 6L6, it's the same socket because it's wired the same as a 6V6, 6 volts. The sensitivity for the life, you set that to 48, and you set the true GM to 13. But you see how the 13 is in red, okay? The 13 is in red on this, right there, okay? So if you are looking at a tube that has a red for the sensitivity number, once you set that back to 13 on that dial, you would read the red scale. So that's what that would mean. So in the case of the 6V6, it is 6000, which would take you all the way out to the tip of the black scale, and you may have a very strong tube that wants to overkill that, so they flip you to the red scale back here. So a good conductance for a 6V6 is actually right here, and what would you'd think would be in the replace or bad range, but it's not. When you're reading the true GM spec, you are reading the number, not the good or bad. That one's for life. Okay, so hopefully that was kind of cool to see this little tube tester. It's got some limitations. It can test various types of 9-pin, various types of octals, and various types of 7-pin. So it does have its limitations, but for typical radio tubes, it's not bad. I think it's from the 50s, but it's working now. This was a customer of the music store who bought this at an antique shop and said, hey, you know anybody who can fix it? And he was told to leave it because the amp guy might be able to take a look at it. So hi, my name is That Amp Guy, and there's your tube tester working. Have a great day.